Okay, when you're setting up your 45s or your 15s or 22 and a halves, take your block and push it against the blade. It's barely touching down here where it's on the cutting surface on this diamond's edge.
She can't
Okay?
get out of the passport?
No.
Okay.
And then on this particular model, you want to put your block underneath. Okay, it's a 2x4 block. And then clamp it down. Alright. You can have it just a hair away. I mean, just a hair. Literally a hair away. Alright. Then you can put your piece in place. Alright. When you see it's going to cut, and you bring this just a hair past it. Okay. And you're dialed in. Let me show you what I'm looking at right here. Okay, you see the angle of the blade. Alright, that angle is going to cut. You want it to cut right across this corner. And you may want to cut it back a little bit, just depending on what you're doing. Alright, but there you go. Now you could also take this and build it out. You know, you could take another block and just take another block and stick another block here and build it out even more. Okay, just depending on what you're doing. Okay, and that pushes it further away, but that's a whole nother thing. It's something you have to play with. The other thing I'm going to point out is you see how close this side of the table is to the blade. Alright, got a very small gap, and on this side you have a much larger gap. Okay, and when you notice I'm doing my really fine cutting and I'm pushing my material up against the blade, okay, I'm using this side where the gap is at its narrowest point right here. Alright, I don't use this side because this could cause you injury over here because it's wider. The gap between the table and the blade, the gap is much greater. Okay, and that's why I use this other side. Okay, part 2. I'm just notching this so the thin set will have somewhere to go to help hold this in place. Okay, and I'm running this at an angle. Okay, almost done. Alright, now okay, now, okay, this way gives the thin set somewhere to go to help hold this in place. You can get as fancy with this as you like. Alright, now we're going to set this up. Okay, we're going to, okay, now, we got to get this dialed in here. Alright, now I'm going to show you what I'm seeing here. Got to change the camera angle. Now remember the speed square. Alright, you want this up tight against the speed square, and we're going to get this dialed in right to where we want it. Okay, I'm going to catch just above. Okay, we want this flat side, this part of the other side, right down and just on the back side of this groove for a perfect cut. Alright, and I'm pulling this back to the fence. Okay, looks like I got to go this, bump it just a hair. Okay, so it barely rides up on that bull nose, barely. and we're good. Pull it tight back to the fence. Get it lined up with the speed square. Here we go. Now, let's take a look at it. Let's take a look up close and personal. Okay, so you can see that I'm right above the detail, all right? A perfect position. And so I rode up just slightly onto the bullnose, okay? As you can kind of see, well, not so much. But I'm just skimming this bullnose so that I could get all of that detail without removing it. All right. So right here on this bullnose is where you could see it, but not in the camera. All right. So now we got to carefully bring this back, eyeball it. Okay. Everything's tight. It's up against this side of the bullnose. Okay, we're all lined up. All right, and I'm back away from the blade. The cut is actually ends here, so you want to be back away from it. You always want to make sure your fingers are not going to catch the front of that blade ever. Not even, you can pinch it this way too. My fingers are probably away about a ½ inch, quarter inch at times, but do not have it in front of that blade. Remember, this is cutting granite, tile, porcelain, etc. Okay. Getting familiar with this trim and cutting, showing you how to cut this trim. Alright, we're going to 45 this piece, so I've got it lined up just like it will go. Alright, so this needs to be the long point, and this should be the short point, okay? Because this is going to have to reach up here to the top of this trim to finish it out. So we have to make sure we come down, we start at this point, and then come down at an angle at a 45 degree. So I'll show you how to do that. Now when you cut this, okay, you end up with this granulations, and I'm not sure what that is, but it turns into this like grit. Alright, so I'm not sure what that is made of for sure. It has a feeling kind of like marble maybe. It's not. And is it a form of plastic? Possibly, but very nice. Very nice. And remember, when you cut the back of it, score it, it makes it easily broken. So you've got to really handle it delicately. Don't bump it or bang it. Now, the reason we're putting it here because it will hide this gap all the way across. Alright? And it'll look really nice. As my dad would say, it'll dress it up. Alright. And this is it being in use. What a deal, huh? How cool is that? Now here's that little custom piece I made. It just blends right in. You can see here, the top, where it comes around. It's that custom little piece. Okay, and then over here, Got the other custom little piece that just blends the return to itself. And the return to itself, it'll look much nicer when I get it painted. It's not all dirty. And there's that finished edge with the fingernail polish. And I would say don't get the fast drying fingernail polish. Do not get that. Okay. So there's your overview of this. I have put more time into this than you would ever imagine. But then you've seen it from start to finish. Alright. You go with this plow foot. Next I'll be doing the shower. It's going to get a shower curtain. Okay, I'm going to put in the shower setup with the shower ring, and they're going to have to mount it here to the wall. On this wall right here, where the space is, it's going to be a doorway. It's going to get a sliding barn door setup right there, and that's why it's left this way. All right, and I'll show you the trim I made sooner than later, but just not now. So, like, subscribe, share, comment, put in the playlist if you think it's good enough. So keep up the good work, everybody. United we stand, and united we make it happen here on YouTube. And never give up, because there's always a way. Always. I gotta go get another piece of trim. I'll show you why. Look at this, light and dark. So I gotta go get another one. All right, 2 down, 1 to go. Bye for now. God bless. Bye.